Hello there, guys. Are you guys ready for action? Ready for action tonight? We have a very complex topic. I don't know the answers yet, but it's kind of stunning information because I didn't know anything about it. This is brand new. I've never discussed it before. So this is something that I just discovered by accident, and that is just to give you an idea of the title. What we're going to talk about is the fact that even with the Google phone, and I have a Google phone. I have a Google phone right here. This is a Pixel. Um, this Pixel was being spied on by Google. The reason I found out was on Google itself, and I'll get into the details. But that's what we're going to talk about, was how Google was spying on the Google phone of all things, and we're going to find out how they did that. At least my guess of how they did that, because I don't know yet what the answer is. I just know what they were doing and how I disabled that temporarily, or at least in a way I know how. But it's kind of shocking. So that's something that we're going to talk about in the next half an hour. And after the half hour goes by, we will go into a Q&A section, just like we usually do, and then you can ask whatever you want. If you guys are not interested in the Q&A section, you can stop at the half hour, so you don't have to say this video is going to extend an hour and a half, because you don't have to. That you're not forced to go beyond that half an hour. The half an hour is my topic section. So, so that's our format for tonight. And again, just for housekeeping purposes, there will be no broadcast on Black Friday, on the day after Thanksgiving. There will not be a broadcast then, so I will not see you for a live stream for 2 weeks, for at least 2 weeks from today. So after today, it'll be 2 weeks before I see you again. So the videos will be normal. You'll see the normal video, but not the live stream. So guys, let me just tell you again what the mystery is. So what happened was, I have it. In fact, this phone wasn't even involved. It has nothing to do with this. What was involved is that I have several Gmail accounts. So several Gmail accounts that I use for different purposes, and I was setting up my email on my brand new Linux computer. I have a Dell XPS 13 that I just got, and I loaded Pop OS on it. So I'm running Pop OS, and I'm making it my daily driver. And so I was loading up my email using Thunderbird. So I had Thunderbird on, and I was putting all my email, and I got to putting in all my Gmail accounts. And for example, the one I use for YouTube, if I put that in, it requires 2 Zucking factor authentication. So the only way to enter, because that's required for YouTube now. So the only way I could enter my Google Gmail account on my computer, on my Linux computer here, was to use a Google phone, a Googled phone. So I have a special Google phone that's mostly off, and it's only turned on to get 2-factor authentication via notification. So that they don't call you, they just pop the notification on the Google app on the Google phone. So the phone itself doesn't actually dial. In fact, it has a SIM card, but I don't actually even need a SIM card. I just use the SIM card for testing. There's no purpose of dialing out. So the way I have it set up is that my Google Voice, my YouTube account is all tied to this Google phone, and I'm logged in to this Google phone through Google, so they know everything. So I figured, okay, that's expected because I logged in. I logged into Google on the phone, so I know they know the phone, but I don't really use the phone. So, and it's off pretty much, all the time. So the only time I turn it on is I have to do things like this, such as get 2-factor authentication. So, so I was able to set up my YouTube account, no problem, but I had to go get the authorization from the 2-factor, which was the Google app on the phone. Then I said, okay, now let me set my secondary Google account. And I went and tried to set up my secondary Google account. And it said, oh, you need two-factor authentication on this phone too. And pay attention to the details I'm talking about here because it's kind of complicated. And I said, wait a minute, I never set two-factor authentication on this other account. Never. But it does have a phone number to text me. So I said, okay, let's see if it texts me, the code. And so it asked for options about, how you want a two-factor. So I did texting, and then it texted me a code. I put the code in, and you know what? It didn't take it. Didn't take the code, and it still popped up. Do you wish to authenticate using your device? And then it gave me a list of devices. Every device on the list, except for one, has been dead long time ago. Like I don't use the phone. So this is like been going on for a long time. So I don't use those phones. So I don't know what happened to them. I think, either I sold them or I don't use them anymore. They're probably old, like, a Nexus 5, stuff like that, like really, really old phones that I don't use anymore. So it's probably in junk somewhere. Okay. And so I said, okay, well, that doesn't matter. I mean, I can't log into that. So I logged off. I logged off all those devices that I don't use. And then it says, how about your Pixel? Well, not in these words, but it said, want to authenticate on your Pixel. I said, wait a minute. How does it know I have a Pixel? Because my Pixel de-Googled. Not only is this phone de-Googled, there's no login on here. I have never logged into Google on this as a phone. No Google on this. And then I looked at my email. I said, did I log into Gmail on this device? I looked at my K9. I'm using K9 on this. I'm looking at K9. I do not have Gmail on it currently. There's no Gmail on this. There is no Gmail on this. But guess what Google says? Google actually not only identified the device and the location, and the timestamp of the device was when I turned it on. I turned on the device, this particular phone, and it said on the Google website that the device was last seen on, and it gave the timestamp. I said, what the zuck? How does it do that? I have to tell you, it's like, this is a de-Google phone. There's no Google code on the de-Google phone. So it's like, it made me really scared about what are they doing that we don't know about? What are they doing that we don't know about? So I had to go, try to recreate, the scenario of what might have happened. And, I don't have all the details yet. And I don't know if this is an issue on a computer. It seems to be a specific problem on a phone, and even the Google phone, meaning they don't need Google code to track your phone. How does Zuck do they do that? Okay, I'm going to give you my guess. As far as how they do this, it's going to be something that we have to really study from here on. But I'm going to give you a guess, and this is like the reality is most of you will not have done this, and your device is probably being tracked. What happened was years ago, not even recently. I'm talking about a long time ago, year and a half maybe. Year and a half ago, I installed that email account on K9, the K9 app. I installed the Gmail account on K9, and that was a long time ago, because it was based on what Google was reporting, that they saw this device and they gave a date, and it was a long time ago. So like late 2019, something like that. It was like a long time ago. And so I logged into this device using Gmail. Now, something that you have to understand when you log into a device using K9, for example, in order to validate your account on K9, it's actually going to pop OAuth, OAuth, just in case you don't know what that is. OAuth. OAuth is basically authorizes a website, a third-party website authorizes this device. So it's an indirect authorization. Like if you log into an app and they said we'll take a Facebook authentication, we'll take a Google authentication, we'll take a LinkedIn authentication, we'll take an Apple authentication. That is using OAuth, where it's a third party code. So obviously what happened here is that when I activated Gmail on this phone some years back, it activated OAuth. So something was embedded into the phone relating to OAuth, okay, which is a third-party authorization when you log in using a third party like Facebook or Google. Then I deleted Gmail, the Gmail account. There's no Gmail account on this at all. There is no Gmail account on this at all. But guess what? The authorization from OAuth and the spying of OAuth continues. It doesn't zucking stop. How the heck do you turn it off? How do you turn off the OAuth spy code that was embedded in the phone? You'd think that when you delete the Gmail that would stop the spying. No, it's running separately like a separate app on the phone. That OAuth is running as a separate app on the phone, and it was still reporting to Google. Every single moment it was reporting to Google. I mean, Zuck. Can you imagine that? How would you know that? You turned off the phone, you deleted Gmail from the phone. So the moment you even put Gmail, it's doing this. I said, Zuck, what if you loaded 5 Gmail accounts and then you deleted the 5 Gmail accounts? That means there are 5 zucking trackers on the phone, 5 trackers that you'll never figure out because you didn't know anything about it. Wow. That's a pretty serious issue. Okay, so let me just tell you how I disabled it. Well, the problem is we don't know exactly if you can disable it, but the way I disabled it is on the same Gmail or Google account that says security, and it lists all the devices. And it actually listed all the devices and the ones that you've authorized for an app to access. So I disabled the app. This is done only from Google. So you have to go to your Gmail account, go to the Google account, and then disable and log off, sign off on the device in question. And then I believe you take off the authorization for app access using OAuth. Only then did it stop tracking. And it's like, what the zuck? That means the rest of us are being tracked right now. And we would never know if we ever installed a Gmail on the phone. So guys, this is very clear now. This is very clear. I'm going to give you this very clear advice. First, you got to go to Google and make sure you log out of any mobile device that you've ever authorized to use with Gmail or Google in general. You have to log off using Google accounts, log off from the device. Next, do not ever activate any kind of Google OAuth authentication on the zucking phone, ever. Ever. That means you got to monitor that. case you made a mistake. Ever. My gosh. This is the deadliest thing I've ever seen, tracking you without. So I've been tracked now. You know, they're tracking an identity that was not even real, so it doesn't really matter. But, I mean, the information was real. It was tracking where this device was going. It was tracking where this device was going. So, fortunately, I have location off. So it was only tracking IP addresses. That's primarily what it's tracking, IP addresses. And then it was estimating a location based on the IP address. So if I'm not home, it's tracking locations and everything from the IP address. Wow, this is like, there's some evil implications here. Now, the evil implications extend beyond Google. As you know, OAuth is used not just by Google, but with Facebook. Can you imagine if you install Facebook and then you're logging in? This is something I tell you never, never, never do. Never log into any other application using a third-party OAuth. Never. Never use Facebook to log into any other website or any other platform. Never do that. Log into each one separately. Do not connect the two because you're actually informing Facebook or Google what you're doing on that app. Do not let them see that. And the hidden part, again, is once you've authorized the phone, apparently it doesn't leave. It stays authorized, and then as long as it's authorized, it's being tracked. This is like crazy. Of course, I don't use Facebook, so if you're using Facebook, then you're zucked anyway. Yeah, I know, metaverse. Sucking BS. Okay, this is like crazy. So basically, that's something, you cannot check this. What I'm just telling you right now cannot be checked on the phone. You can't go on the phone and look for this because it's invisible. The only way to find out is to go into security on your Google account. Go to security, look for the devices, and look and see what they're tracking about each device. If you don't recognize a device or you shouldn't be doing Google on that device, such as the Google phone, turn it off. Now, if it's a Google phone, I guess doesn't make any difference because you're being tracked anyway if you have a Google phone. It's time to buy the Google phone. But what I'm trying to tell you is that I did not know this, that a Google phone can be compromised by OAuth. Okay, and if it's an Apple phone, it will be compromised by OAuth. Google has its fingers in there. Suck. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I got to fight every day. I mean, simple thing. I said, we just want privacy. We don't have any issues. Just leave us zucking alone. That's all we ask. Leave us alone. And like, oh yeah, we're not going to leave you alone. We're going to track your device. Even though, what is the purpose of Google tracking the device when there is no application on it that relates to Google? Why is the device being tracked for Google purposes when there's not even a current application? I already deleted the application, which was, well, I never loaded an application. I just logged into Gmail from a third-party app. This is like super, super crazy. So anyway, again, to clarify the advice for you, what you have to do, if you have a Gmail account, go to your Google, log into your Gmail. If you have a YouTube account, they will now require, I think as of November, they required two-factor authentication with a phone number. Couldn't even do an app. I had to have a phone with a phone number, at least initially. And then after I did that, then I now use a phone that doesn't need a phone number, but it has to have the Google app on there. So Google app is on the phone. Okay, so now what you have to do is go to your Google account for all of your Gmail accounts. Look at all the devices under Google accounts. Look at all the devices, and then see if there's any device that you no longer use or should not be tracked by Google. And you have to log out and block app access on that device, specifically on Google, or they'll never stop tracking it. So the problem is, once they have the information about the phone, are they able to track it on the side without telling us? That I will never know. So if you ever made a mistake and you did what I did, does that mean they track it forever and you just don't know it? Zuck. I mean, that's a scary thought. Scary thought. Okay, do I have to do factory reset? You know, it's very hard to factory reset. You can't factory reset one of the Google phones because it wipes everything out and you got to reinstall the apps and everything. So it's not something you can do yourself. So it's really, really bothersome that this happened. Anyway, go to your Google account, look at all the accounts in there. Now, the next piece of advice is never, no, it has nothing to do with censored off. Censored off is location and all that. Yeah, it won't stop it will stop the location tracking, but it will not stop the IP address tracking. So it did track the IP address. I could see it. It tracked the IP address. And since I wasn't using the phone, it was tracking the IP address without a VPN because I was not using the phone. So the VPN wasn't on because I wasn't using it. Bad thing. It was doing it. I should have logged into the Brax router, but I didn't even do anything. So this is like serious stuff here. So what do you need to do? This, guys, you must never ever put Gmail. Never put Gmail on your phone. Never put Gmail on your phone. If you want to use email, I have a email service, Braxmail. You can get a Braxmail service for $50 a year. That gives you 5 domains, and put that on your phone using whatever app, including K9. And then if you want to use the Gmail, forward it to an account. Do not actually put Gmail on the phone. I don't know if this applies to I don't know if this applies to a computer. I think this issue is definitely related to the phone. I don't think it's a computer issue because in a computer you're only logged in using the browser, so the browser sets some limits. But do not ever put Gmail on your phone. So some of you are relying on Gmail. You can forward Gmail to another account, forward Gmail to a Braxmail, for example, and then when you reply from your Braxmail, and then after a while, you can forget about your Gmail. But that's how you would do this, so you don't have to worry about this, because do not ever, if you did it, just go to your Google account, log off from the device in question, and don't rely on Gmail at all ever on the device, and don't load any Google app. I do have the only app that is connected to Google on my phone is actually Waze. But it doesn't use any Google services. It doesn't use Firebase. It doesn't use Google Maps. Waze is actually an independent app, which is surprising. So Waze runs fine. It just, I don't have anything else on there. And the only time I was thinking about using Google was to log in on the browser using, like to log into YouTube using the browser. And apparently even that may not be a good idea. So, you use NewPipe if you want to access. But I was trying to access my YouTube account. So I was remote and I wanted to access my YouTube account one time. And so I wanted to go in there. What I wanted to do at one time was I wanted to announce that I was late. I was late for the live stream, and I wanted to put an announcement for somebody to say that I was late for the live stream because I was going to be starting 30 minutes later. So I was trying to get into my YouTube account, so I went to the browser, and that required me to log in to Google. I think that clears out if you clear cookies, and I don't use a Chrome browser. I use DuckDuckGo. So I think that clears out with cookies, but the Gmail, the OAuth, is what's stuck on here. I don't know the mechanism of how Android interacts with OAuth. That requires quite a bit of research. I don't actually know how it works, and it's kind of new to me. And so apparently it stores a little database on the phone, and that maintains a connection with the original provider of the OAuth. So if you signed in with Google, with Facebook, with any of those other apps, you're in trouble. You're in trouble, folks. So don't do that. Don't do that. So anyway, no, I don't use my search engine here is DuckDuckGo on this, on the phone. There's no app for startpage.com. So I can't use Startpage on the phone. You need to actually type startpage.com to do that. Okay. Forgetting about the politics of all the comments, because if we're going to base it on politics, we're not going to be able to use anything. So, that's the reality. It is what it is, and as much as I don't like to do it, like one of the products that is definitely tied to certain parties is Firefox, and in fact, millions of people left Firefox because they got political. I'm not political, so I don't necessarily react to it, but I need to use Firefox for browser isolation, where it's one of the many browsers that I use. So I still use Firefox. I use, in fact, all of them. On my current computer here, which is a Pop OS running on a Dell XPS 13, I'm running Chromium, I'm running Firefox, and I'm running Brave. And then, so Chromium, Firefox, and Brave. That's what's loaded on here right now. Okay, so I don't want to use Opera. Opera is Chinese. So I don't know what that thing is doing. I saw PewDiePie. PewDiePie was promoting Opera. And, he has gazillions, how many millions and millions and millions of subscribers does he have? And PewDiePie was promoting Opera, and I was like, zuck that, that's Chinese. So I guess if they pay him, then why is he going to complain? He doesn't care about privacy. I'm telling you, do not use Opera. Take that off your list. Take that off your list. Yeah, so yes, my cocktail. So I have a cocktail. So, hold on a second. Well, thank you for staying through the first 30 minutes of my rant here. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you that this live stream and every live stream so far since the last year and a half or so has been sponsored by Linode. And Linode is my favorite cloud service provider, and it's what I use personally myself a lot. It's my most active cloud service that I use. I have so many servers on it, I've lost count. Pages and pages of servers on Linode. And because I want to save money, I'm going to go to Linode. So if you want to save money on a cloud server and have the best support that is possible, who are you going to go to? Well, guys, I've been talking about them for a long time, and this is the company that I would trust for my cloud services. And all you have to do is go to linode.com and put /Rob Braxman. And they're going to give you a $100 credit that you can apply to 2 months of services. So whatever you do in 2 months, you can use up to $100 for those 2 months. So and you can set up servers for cheap. Sometimes as cheap as $5 a month. So for a shared server, $5 a month, it's called a Nanode, and it'll be fine for running websites and things. So yeah, so consider this company, Linode. It's the best cloud service company that I have used, and I was heavily a user of AWS before. So, okay. Uh, Lisa B says, but Rob, this is surely going to get much worse. Yeah, it's already starting to get worse because here's the problem, folks. They're looking. Let me start reading your comments here. Uh, they're starting to find loopholes and everything. It's like this. Just as we, the privacy guys, there are not too many privacy guys, but I'm your main privacy guy here on YouTube, or maybe even the internet, and I'm looking for ways to defend you. And then the opposition comes up with something, and then we got to fight back again. Somebody says, "Wow, your stuff is so difficult. We can't follow it. It's too techy." Unfortunately, the problem is, it's like a hacker. You're fighting a hacker. The hacker in this case is Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple. All of them are hacking us, hacking our data, and then we have to fight back. And unfortunately, it's not easy, guys. It's not easy. I come up with methods here, and I tell you, and I try to defend you in every way I can. And some of you complain, and some of you, say bad things about me because I don't talk about what you want me to talk about. Well, this guy doesn't talk about Graphene OS, so he must be a bad guy. So then you go talk on Reddit. It's like somebody said that, yeah, they're talking about me on Reddit in a bad way. Yeah, what else is new? Who cares? Okay, so I don't really care. I don't really care. My channel is now the biggest privacy channel on YouTube. Not big enough, but at least it's growing a little bit at a time. And we need to grow more. I'm not growing right now. I need to grow faster because that means if I'm able to grow faster, we can actually get some action. Let me tell you an example. Facebook, as you know, as I told you a week ago, Facebook stopped doing facial recognition. At least publicly, they've stated that they're no longer going to use facial recognition as a feature in the app relating to tagging users and so on. Now, some of you may be correct here when you say, "Well, we don't trust Facebook." I mean, they're saying they won't do that, but it doesn't mean that we can trust them. You could be right. Publicly, they're not going to use it. Nothing stops them from doing a facial recognition connection internally to make connections among people so that they say, well, if we didn't connect you on Facebook before, we can do it by photo. In fact, at one point, Facebook did a connection by location. So I keep repeating the story, so I'll repeat it again. So this girl was at a bar, and so she was sitting at the bar, and the guy next to her started to make some moves on this girl, and this girl was not interested, and basically, wanted the guy to shoo, and that was the end of that. Except when the guy came home and the girl went home and opened up their Facebook account, they were being recommended as friends to each other. I mean, that's like that's Facebook for you. That's Zuck. It's Zucked up. So they were using location tracking to see who was where, and then they were matching locations and say, okay, you're nearby, so we're going to recommend you as a friend. So they're doing that with tagging. So if you ever end up with a photo, you went to a party and somebody took a photo, posted it on Facebook, you're going to get recommended as a friend. Because they're going to tag the other person and say, oh, you're not connected on Facebook, but you're connected in real life because we have a photo of you together. So that's the kind of sucked up thing that, we got to fight. It's something I have to deal with every day. And it's difficult, guys. And, it's not perfect what I do. It's difficult, for example, for people who are not very techie. And then they blame me and, say it's very, very difficult. Yes, it is difficult. I cannot please everyone. But if the movement of people reacts enough, like with Facebook actually realized that there's some risk to pushing facial recognition. They already got some lawsuits, and I think they measured the response that they probably did a bunch of surveys, and they probably saw that the creepiness of it wasn't going to go away, and that probably bothered them. Um, so, yeah, so this is where the privacy focused community probably gave them a bad feedback on the survey, and they said, well, this is not going to be economically feasible to do this. This is why we need to build up the privacy movement. If people are concerned and see that we're being abused, like this OAuth thing with Google that I'm telling you about, if the community grows, if the people who believe in this topic grows, the effect is that the surveys will show that things that they're doing are not going to be cool, and the tech companies are going to realize, oh, we can't just push spying on the conversations and spying with Bluetooth and spying and doing contact tracing and doing all this, and we better cut down on that. And then maybe it's not going to get worse. It's already pretty bad, but right now it's getting worse. But it takes you guys to understand that. I still see stupid comments on YouTube, from people who say, old man. I mean, you want to live in a cave. This is technology here. It's like, hey, stupid kid, this is your idea of technology that you accept being spied on? Why don't you leave your doors and windows open at night? Why don't you take off the door to your bathroom? So if you don't even understand this, why don't you take the door off your bathroom? Instead of coming at me and saying, hey, old man. It's like, Doc, this is the kind of stuff I got to deal with all the time. Yeah, boomer. Yes, boomer. It's like, Doc. So, yeah, you can say anything you want about me, but my point is that we need to build a community of people that actually believe in what I say. And I'm going to tell you, it even for my family, it took my family a long time to even understand what I'm saying, and they're getting it a little bit. They're getting it a little bit. I actually got my family to talk to me on Signal now, which is like a shocker. They used to want to talk to me on Messenger, and now they're like, yeah, we'll talk to you on Signal now. It's like, wow, that's what I'm talking about. It's getting people to be aware and start thinking about, oh, maybe there's an alternative. Maybe there's something to worry about. But some people in some countries, like there are countries that are so, I don't know, they're like they're in a coma with their minds relating to privacy. The two countries that I know are like obsessed with Facebook, for example. One is Germany, the other is the Philippines. Obsessed with Facebook. It's like they live from Facebook. Okay, you can't even do any kind of social media in Germany if it's not Facebook. So I remember during the days when I was on this app called Periscope, and trying to promote that in Germany, and the people in Germany said, no, we want Facebook. So we're only going to do video if it's a Facebook Live. It's like, fuck. So yeah, guys, that's what we have to deal with, and so we have to kind of build the movement, because once people are concerned, we can make a change. I'm thinking, how can I promote this? And it's really hard to promote this, because I was saying to myself, should I make a T-shirt that says privacy on it? I certainly can't put Rob Braxman on it. Nobody's going to wear it. But you know what I mean? What kind of T-shirt can I make that I can promote? You put it in the comments later, not maybe after the broadcast, so I can see it. And tell me what I should put in a T-shirt that people would wear and that would promote the issue of privacy. I had a Zuckbook T-shirt once that didn't really sell, so that was a direct attack on Facebook, and it said Zuckbook, and that didn't sell. So that was kind of disappointing. So yeah, we gotta we gotta find a way to pass the message along. So it's a common message, so everyone sees it and said, oh yeah, you're right. Facebook does Zuck. Facebook is Zuckbook. We got to get to that. And by the way, I can't even. You have the Zuckbook T-shirt. You should wear it. Yeah, on my boat, my crew all have Zuckbook T-shirts. So, got to keep it simple though, guys. Something you will wear. Don't like come up with complex wording and then nobody's gonna wear it. It's gotta make sense. Something simple. What could I wipe my? Wish I could wipe my phone clean. Can I? Yeah, you can wipe your phone clean. You gotta de-Google it fresh. Meta equals metadata. Privacy sucks. Privacy matters. Well, that's kind of like you would wear that. That sounds boring. Faceplant. It's got to be it's got to be interesting. Got to be interesting. But I'm reluctant to put any like Zuckbook because somebody thought it was like swearing, and they're not gonna wear it to church because it says Zuck on it. It's like, come on, it's not a swear word. Yeah, because the problem is sometimes people think it's a swear word and then they don't want to wear it. So you're Zuck. It's not, actually that has a ring to it. You're Zucked, because people are gonna ask, what does that mean? Yeah, that's has a ring to it. That's a ring to it. You're Zucked, because they're gonna wonder what what does that relate to, and they're gonna think Zuck. Yeah. So how about Meta Zuck? Meta Zuck, Zuck Meta, Zucker Bugger. So so anyway, that's just you can suggest it later after this broadcast so I can see it in the permanent comments. So anyway, just understand what you're typing on there. If you're gonna type something on there, tell me that you will wear it, that you would wear such a t-shirt. If you're not gonna wear it, then there's a problem. If you're embarrassed to wear it, then nobody's gonna wear it. So my cocktail, as you can see, it is a cocktail. Nobody knows what Brax is. Yeah, nobody knows what Brax is. You can put Brax me on here, like, what the heck is that? So nobody knows that. We got like what? We got 60,000 Brax me users. I mean, that doesn't compete with what a billion people using WhatsApp. We're like nothing. But it's we got close to 350,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I've gotten probably close to, I think I'm almost at 15 million views now on the channel. So yeah, a good number of people have seen me. If there's 15 million views, yeah, there's a probability that maybe 5 million people have seen me. I don't know. There's high probability that somebody's seen me. So you are Rob. Thank you, Spurad Nacienta. Wow. And the text is very tiny, so it's very, very hard to see that. So anyway, I have an idea for my next video. I've been asked this question over and over again, so I'm going to go through it again, even though I went through it last time. I don't know why I have to repeat this so often because it's I'm not getting there, and this is the question that needs to be answered all the time. People get my VPN and they say, we're on your VPN, but our location is still being tracked. Our location is still being tracked, even on the VPN. Okay, rather than type long answers on text comments and Brax.me or make a full video about this, let me just explain this again over and over, and I keep repeating this because it just doesn't sink in. Okay, location is determined two ways. So let's make this clear again. Location is determined two ways. Way number one is called Wi-Fi triangulation. Okay, how does Wi-Fi triangulation work? If your device has Wi-Fi on it, then you're going to get Wi-Fi triangulated unless you make sure to disable permissions for Wi-Fi triangulation. And you will find that you can't really turn off permissions for Wi-Fi triangulation on a computer. You can only turn off Wi-Fi triangulations per app if the app allows it. So you can go to Chrome, turn off location tracking on Chrome. You can go to Firefox, turn off location tracking on Firefox. You can go to every browser and turn off location tracking on a browser. If you loaded some third-party app on your computer, an executable, like a DMG on a Mac or an exe on Windows or a binary on Linux, you don't know if it's doing Wi-Fi triangulation. You actually have no way of knowing that. So it is possible for any kind of app to track your location using Wi-Fi triangulation. So if you want to stop Wi-Fi triangulation, the answer is to turn off the permissions if it's given to you. Turn off permissions for location, which will turn off Wi-Fi triangulation. So that's method number one of tracking you. That has nothing to do with a VPN. I haven't even talked about a VPN yet. This tracking with Wi-Fi triangulation works all the time. It is not dependent on any VPN or any IP address or nothing. It's not even connected to it. It's a separate thing. It's what is called out-of-band traffic. As long as you have an internet connection, someone can send Wi-Fi triangulation data as long as there's an internet connection and your device has Wi-Fi. That's one. Number two, you have an IP address. Now, by default, an IP address only gives out city location in the past. So by default, you can only get a city, a rough city. So by looking at your Wi-Fi, your IP address, they can typically find you within, 5 miles based on the region where that IP address is allocated. And it's not even that accurate all the time. Sometimes it depends on who owns the IP address. Usually the ISP IP addresses are fairly accurate and will find you within about 5 miles. If you're using Spectrum, Charter, all of that, they'll find you, within that kind of range. That's not very accurate. So you say, okay, that doesn't matter. And yet you're looking at your system and you got location turned off and it's actually projecting your exact location. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, I'm on a VPN, I've turned on location and it's still finding my location. Okay, let's say you don't have a VPN. Let's say you don't have any VPN. So what happens is your location is was tracked, or maybe the location was stored on your device when you allowed Wi-Fi triangulation and it's cached in a cookie, cached on your computer in some way. The location is then stored, and then when you go to certain apps like the Weather Channel and so on, they actually record the IP address you're currently on and your location. And that data now is sold. It's particularly a problem on cell phones. So the Weather Channel is one of the main apps that does this. They're one of the thousands of apps that do this. They record the IP address and they record the Wi-Fi triangulated location, and they sell that data. They sell that data to a reverse IP lookup database. Let me repeat that again. They sell the data to a reverse IP lookup database. Now, what does that mean? It means that a company will provide a database to Microsoft, and the two companies that provide it to Microsoft are Skyhook.com, and the other company is Here.com. And what they do is go to the database, the sold database, and they say, what's your IP address? And you pull up your IP address. And then the projected location based on historical findings of that IP address with a location using Wi-Fi triangulation has been stored. So if you're one of those typical users that don't care and everybody's using your Wi-Fi and your entire family is using Instagram and this and that, and they're at home and they're sending the app location from the phone to the app then sells that data, and then there you go. So Yelp, Craigslist, who knows? Anything that asks for location. Some apps are very notorious for wanting location. The Weather Channel, you have to assume if they want the location badly, they must be selling it. So what happens now is once your IP address is matched to a location, you are completely zonked. Because if you ever use your IP address, even without location, they're going to know your location. They're going to know your location because you're in the reverse IP lookup database. This is why you must never allow that match to occur. And the way you do that is you always are on a VPN. So if you're on a VPN, now why does a VPN work? Why does a VPN work? The VPN works because you are sharing an IP address. So let's say you're sharing an IP address to one of my servers in Northern California. Okay, so you're using IP address, 2.2.2.2.1. 2.2.2.2.1. Okay, so 4 digits. So that's the IP address in let's say Northern California. And all of the users of the VPN are getting Wi-Fi triangulated, let's say. So what's going to happen is 2.2.2.1 will get so many locations for that IP address. Some of you will be coming in from Singapore, Japan, Frankfurt, Germany, Switzerland, Dallas, New York, and all of you are connecting to my server in Northern California under 2.2.2.1. How is Skyhook Wireless and Here.com going to save that? They can't, because they'll say bad data. They'll say bad data, so they'll never store an IP address from a VPN because they'll say, this must be a VPN. It's bad data. We're not going to store it because it's inconsistent data. They can't point where the location is. So they're going to rely on the location based on the IP address only. I'm going to tell you the truth here. I'm one of those people who have always been careful about IP addresses in my household. I'm going to tell you right now that my IP address is not in the reverse IP lookup database. I actually downloaded the database from Skyhook, and I'm not there. I am not. I come up so far away. When I looked and they said, what my location was, it's at least 5 miles away, at least. So maybe 5 to 10, depending on 5 to 10 miles away, depending on what they were using for reverse IP lookup. So that's because I used a VPN. So the question is, should you have a VPN? Yes, you have to. But do not expect your location to be safe just because you have a VPN. The purpose of a VPN is to prevent the reverse IP lookup from ever getting populated. And why do you care about somebody getting your location? Somebody asked me that question in a YouTube comment. Why, old man? Hey, boomer. Who cares about location? I'm not a criminal. Who cares about location, boomer? So you see that in YouTube comments. Who cares? I don't come to me and say, "Oh, Rob is so sensitive." No, I am not. I am not. I don't care. What that shows though is the stupidity of that person, and I'm not even going to bother that person with a response. The issue is a location. If they find your exact location, obviously they can know your name. I'm going to tell you the truth here. I'll tell you the truth. Okay. You know, I do have hacking skills, and I'll tell you that, you know, when I want to attack somebody, I'll tell you how I attack them. Okay. If I want to attack somebody, and attack by me, I want to dox them. I want to find out who they are because they're attacking me, like some troll. How would I attack that person? I don't mean attack in a physical way, because, you know, YouTube will think I'm suggesting any kind of a physical thing. No, I'm talking about how do I find out who a troll is that's attacking me? And the answer is I'd send them a beacon. What is a beacon? Well, I send an email. If I know your email address, I'll send you a junk mail that you'll not recognize anything other than junk mail. And the junk mail will send back a beacon with your location on it. And chances are you're not on a VPN. So I do that. I do a reverse IP lookup. If your Wi-Fi triangulation is off, if your Wi-Fi triangulation is on, I'll just get a direct Wi-Fi triangulation location from the beacon, and you're sucked. Then I look you up, and okay, you live on 1278 Main Street in Greensboro, South Carolina, and it's gonna be easy. And then I just look up, oh, who lives there, and then I find out, oh, you're the guy. This actually happened. You're the guy who sent a pic of your junk to a live broadcast. I was doing a live broadcast on email. Somebody emailed me a junk pic live. So this guy was like, "Oh, let me, let's disrupt this guy. I'm gonna send you, a picture of my junk on the email." And I looked at it. I actually opened it, and it said, "Okay." And then tracked his location, and then the guy was actually still on the live stream. I started to say where he was, and the guy was like, "You're not gonna hack me, are you?" And he was afraid, and I wouldn't want anybody to know. In any random thing, you're making a comment here, and then I find out your location. Because you're not careful. So that's that's kind of stupidity. If I know your Facebook account, I can find your email. This is the other trick that you guys don't know. I don't really need to know your email directly. All I need to know is know who you are on Facebook, and I can find your email on Facebook. It's pretty easy. How? I'm not going to tell you how, but it's very easy. I demonstrated it live. Yeah. So once I get the email, then I send you a beacon. And all of this is preventable, because if you're using Tor or VPN, I can't do what I do. If your Wi-Fi triangulation is off, I can't do any of that. So what is the defense? Get yourself a VPN. Get yourself a way to turn off Wi-Fi triangulation. Now, this is going to be interesting, and it's going to be the subject of my next video. Okay? I found out that there is a way to 100% make sure the Wi-Fi triangulation is off. Because I don't know how to turn off Wi-Fi triangulation since it's tied to hardware. I've tried every way. If you're running Linux, location off, makes no difference. I can triangulate you. You're running Windows, you turn off location in the settings, application security, location off, makes no difference. I can triangulate you. Same with a Mac. So they're actually lying to you when they say you cannot be Wi-Fi triangulated. I found out you always can be Wi-Fi triangulated. and you have to stop the permission at the app itself that's doing it. And if an app is not asking for permission, then you are kind of zucked. Okay, you can turn off Wi-Fi triangulation on an Android or iOS because that's built in, but it's not built into a laptop. How do you turn off Wi-Fi triangulation on a laptop? And I figured it out. So kind of complex solution, but you know, that'll be my next video. Hopefully that'll be like your Thanksgiving present, because it's really practical. When you really want to know that you are not doing Wi-Fi triangulation, that's the only way I know how. Okay, I don't even know if using you know, Tails or Unix or any of those will actually stop Wi-Fi triangulation. I don't know for sure, because it has nothing to do with Tor or anything like that. Because simply because you're using Tor does not stop Wi-Fi triangulation. How do you stop Wi-Fi triangulation? Well, I'll give you a hint. You have to turn off the Wi-Fi, but there's no way to turn off the Wi-Fi. How do you turn off Wi-Fi? If it's built into a laptop, how are you going to turn it off? What, go to BIOS and turn it off in BIOS? That's impractical. How would you turn off Wi-Fi? Oh, airplane mode. Wrong. Airplane mode doesn't do it. So anyway, we'll figure that out. That's the kind of thing I do. You know, I dig for things like this, and I'm happy to share this knowledge. But you got to watch the video, because nobody watches my video lately. So my videos are you know, not very popular now. I don't know why. I guess people are not interested in privacy. So, but you will learn a lot from some of this, and I'll explain it in the next video. And it's probably going to be a short video. It doesn't have to be long. I'll just tell you what the solution is, and it's actually strangely connected to my last video. It is connected to my last video. So nobody's getting notification. It's more than that, because you know, it's YouTube not sharing. YouTube is not sharing my videos, so maybe it's because you guys are showing less interest in the topic. But yeah. So yeah. So no, I don't think it's shadow banning. But the only reason, like for example, my video will be normal performance first few days, and then it stops. The reason it stops is because the only way it exceeds the normal performance after a few days is if Google shares it. And if they don't share it, then I'm dead. So I'm kind of relying on Google liking me. If they don't like me, then they don't share the video. Then that's the end of the topic. So you don't get notified. Well, Dusty Blue, you don't need to get notified. I'll tell you the solution. None of you need to get notified. I always release a video on Thursday at 9 a.m. every zucking week. I do it on Odyssey the day before. So typically, you know, Wednesday afternoon to Wednesday evening, I'll release it on Odyssey. But on YouTube, I always release it at 9 a.m. on Thursday. I always have a live stream, not always, but 99% of the time. I have a live stream on Fridays at 8 p.m. These are all Pacific time. Okay, so these are all predictable patterns. So if you know that, then occasionally I'll release a video that's not on the schedule, but that's very rare. Very rare. Okay, so I follow the pattern, so you have something to predict. You put it on your schedule. Oh, I know Rob releases a video on Thursdays, so I should have seen it. If not, you make sure you subscribe to the channel, and you look at your subscribers list and say, okay, you know, what did he publish recently? No specific time on Odyssey. I'm going to say just evening. Typically, I'm going to post it anytime from mid-afternoon to early evening. But it's unless the video's late. Some videos are very, very hard. Some videos are very, very hard to make, though. Like the last video, the last several videos are, took a lot of time to make. So if it's not just a talking head video, it's very hard to make. So if I have to do B-rolls and run, then I got to match them up, and they're very, very time consuming. And I apologize, by the way, guys. The sound on the last several videos have been really, really bad. So what I've been doing is I've been using it, so you can see the microphone here. On those videos, I was using an overhead mic so that you couldn't see the mic, and I can move my hands and do all this. And I found out that that did not work too well. The sound on my boat was very bad because it's kind of a small space, small space for recording. It's not, the yacht isn't small, but because it's enclosed, windows are closed, and it sounds like a closet, and has a very closet sound, kind of echoey closet sound on it. And I've had a problem, so I have to go back to showing you the physical mic. It has to be like this close. So do you think Tor over VPN or Tails is better for privacy? Do not do Tor over VPN or VPN over Tor. Most of you don't understand what you're doing with that. Do not do that. Don't mix it up. VPN only or Tor only. It's so hard to explain. I asked some guy was asking me that question. Maybe it's you. And he didn't really know. When I asked him the question, how are you doing Tor? How are you doing the VPN? He couldn't answer. I'm using Tor and a VPN. That doesn't mean anything to me. Are you using a Tor browser? Are you using a Tor router? Are you using Tor over a browser, Brave? Or how are you doing it? Because it depends on which one is the inner layer. Because then if the inner layer is Tor, you're going to come out on Tor. You wasted all that time doing a VPN for no reason. Or if you're going to do it the other way, which is to do VPN and then Tor on the outside, then you come out on Tor and there's no real benefit. So if you don't understand which is what the first node sees and what the last node sees, if you don't understand the sequence of, it's got to be, it depends on which one is the inner layer, which is the innermost tunnel. And I don't really have time to explain which one is the innermost tunnel, because I use Brax routers, which are Tor routers. I have a Brax Tor service, which is VPN first leg, Tor the next. Okay, so that is VPN first leg and Tor, but I do that so I make sure that the first leg is VPN and the second leg is in fact Tor. That's known. You can use Brax Tor, it's called. You can use that. That's pretty definite. VPN and Tor. So the Tor sees only the VPN. So they're not going to know your source address. So that's Brax Tor. Okay. Now, any other method of using it is iffy. It depends on if you're using a Tor browser. Usually a Tor browser will exit out on Tor. So should you be doing VPN over Tor browser? Yeah, that is Tor completely. But you see, not everything goes on Tor. There's your DNS, your email, all that will not go on Tor. So you're going to be spotted if you do that. So be careful. So I would not suggest mixing it up. Stick to one, VPN or Tor. Then you know exactly what you're doing. There's no need to mix it up. What if we use a software? Thank you, Chicano Pa. The Chicano Pa. Thank you. Very kind of you. What was the question? What if we use a software VPN with your Brax router hardware combined? Meaning 2 VPNs, waste of resources. Then you're just going to overroute. I mean, what's the benefit? So stick to one. Do not do Bytes VPN on an open VPN and then Bytes VPN on a router. That's going to cause a loop. if you're on the same server, it's going to cause a loop, and that's not going to work. So you can't do it. It will work if it's not the same server, and then you're just wasting resources because there's no benefit. It will be like 1 kilobit per second. It's going to be super slow. There's no benefit. So don't do that. How do you use Tor without concealing it from the ISP? How do you use Tor without concealing it from the ISP? Why do you need to worry about the ISP? What do they have to do with Tor? Are you afraid the ISP is going to report you to somebody saying you use Tor? I guess in theory they could do that, but not likely, because that requires deep packet inspection. That'll be pretty slow. Then use Braxtor. Braxtor connects to Tor from Bytes VPN. Or the other way to do it is use my Brax router, because the Brax router connects to Tor, but then you're connecting with a computer. The computer doesn't know anything. So what will be known? Well, because a bunch of people will be using Brax router. I don't think that's really a threat, to be honest with you. If you understand how the entry node of Tor works, that's hardly a threat. I wouldn't worry about it. One of the reasons of the way they constructed the entry node is so that no one can track you over entry nodes, because your Tor service is actually sticky. It's sticky to the entry node. Once it finds an entry node, it stays there. It stays on the entry node for a long time. The exit node will change at every round, but the entry node does not. And it prevents somebody from saying, okay, let me hit you on one of the entry nodes that happen to be owned by the 3-letter agency. Because that's the only way they can do that is, if the entry node is owned by a bad player. And the fact that the entry node doesn't change means the chances of that happening are quite low statistically. What's that? When are you doing that deal? What deal are you talking about, Matt? What about getting on the dark web to get on the black market? Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, if you go to the dark web, likely you're just going on some 3-letter agency website. So, are you going into a real website? That, like the Silk Road kind of website? They already broke into. I'll tell you the story. So after Silk Road was shut down, there was so many new Silk Road equivalents that went on the dark web. And what the FBI didn't say was they already cracked those websites, and they already, arrested the owner of the websites. But you know what they did? They kept the websites running. So you were like going out there, buying stuff with Bitcoin and whatever, and they were like tracking you from that website. So it's like, suck. Okay. Gonna say, where do you want to deliver your fake ID? And then they got you. So yeah, don't do that. I've never done anything in the dark web. That is not my thing. That is not about privacy, guys. That's for criminals. And if you go in there, you will just be tracked as a criminal. So I don't do anything like that. So if somebody's trying to say, I'm going to catch you, Rob, we're going to catch you on the dark web someday because you're going to do something criminal in the dark web. And it's like, never done anything on the dark web. I talk about Tor a lot. I want to use Tor for privacy as a way to send our traffic out. I like even using Tor as a hidden service. Like I even once I set up Brax.me to work under Tor as a hidden service, so that you don't have to worry about your IP address on Brax.me, even though I don't track your IP address. But nobody used it, and I turned it off, and it didn't really matter. But the point is that I like that. That's a real good use, because it's a trustless verification that IP addresses aren't going to be tracked if you're using a hidden service. That's a guarantee that you're not going to be using an IP address that I can track. So and I do not track Tor addresses. In fact, I detect that you're running Tor, and then I can't do anything to it anyway. So there's nothing to record. Brax.me does not record IP addresses. Is your JavaScript enabled? Yes. JavaScript is enabled on all my devices, because realistically, even Brax.me is not going to work without JavaScript. So, yeah, I mean, you get to the point where you say, I'm going to disable JavaScript. Well, you're really be in the dark ages, because nothing's going to work. So that's not the way to worry about that. So the only people who worry about the JavaScript running or not running are really the criminals, and that's really not my concern here. I'm not here to protect criminals, or just protecting average everyday people, where they're doing what Google's doing, with doing OAuth and tracking your Doxing phone. What did I do to deserve the tracking on the phone? By the way, how did I do authorization on the phone? I forgot to explain this. Sorry for telling you only at the end, but I will explain it again. What I found out is that as long as there is a phone attached to an account on Gmail that had any prior OAuth on it, that they will force you to go on that phone for authentication. They will not accept the text. So what I did is I first went into Google and disabled all the phones, so it showed no device that was a phone. Once it had no device that was a phone listed, then I used texting, and then texting worked. So that's how I did that. So that's a new Google strategy now. If you ever use a phone on it and they have an OAuth on it, they will persist in avoiding sending you a text. They want to actually do an app on the phone. And you know what happens when they put an app on the phone, right? They got the IMEI, they got everything on there. They got all the IDs on the phone. Serial number, kind of like Apple. Okay? So, very, very bad thing. So, use app password for Google. No, what does that mean, use app password for Google? Are you still planning to make an encrypted Raspberry Pi backup solution based on GPG keys? You talked about it a year ago. Yeah, I thought about that, Daniel, and then I was also talking about Nextcloud, and then I said, how do I solve the problem of a local device, meaning on your LAN, figuring out that it's yours? How do we do that? And I think I figured it out. I think I came up with the answer. So maybe I can sell that software where I sell you a software with Nextcloud pre-installed on your Raspberry Pi. Then you hook up your hard drive to it, and then put it on your LAN, and then you can use it on a NAS device, Nextcloud. Or if you don't want to use Nextcloud, you can use it, some of the other software that's used for backup, and use it locally, and not the GPG based one. This one is a local backup. Okay. So forget about the Elon Musk phone. That's not true. Brax knows nothing. Yeah, you really are rebel scum. Your name is at least true. So anyway, I figured out how to make that user friendly. I was trying to figure it out, and I found out that if I actually do it on my camera system. So as some of you know, I used to sell this. This is a camera system. Used to be on my store, and we used to manufacture this, and it's PoE. The only connection is a PoE that goes to the router, and so I was using this today because I was using this today because I have one outside, or more than one. So I built my own. I built my own camera, running my own software, and I'm using it only inside the LAN, and through my Brax router actually. So it's even on an encrypted leg, and when I was using it, it basically using the Brax.me, my app, I just click on it and it finds the location of the device. So, because that's one of the mysteries, is how do you find the location or the IP address of your device? Because every time you boot it, you get a different IP address. So how the heck to use the Nextcloud if the IP address keeps changing? So I think I figured that out. So it's it was a kind of a long problem to solve, and finally came to me today. So yeah, there's many projects that I can do that will be good. I mean, one of the things one of my projects was the Brax mail, and the other project was to set up your own mail server, which I have not done yet. The reason I have not yet done the mail server is because I want to make sure that the delivery issues, I don't want any surprises. I'm monitoring the Brax mail service to know all the little being an email provider is kind of complex, and I don't want to have to install servers and then have to go back because I did something wrong. So I'm settling all those issues right now as far as setup, and it's because it's complicated. There's a lot of complications setting up a server. So because of that, I'm not going to rush the Brax mail server. Plus, I got to write the documentation, but I can't do that unless I know what all the issues are. So for that reason, that's been delayed. I was going to start that November 1. Not going to happen. Obviously, it's already a month late. I think. Thank you, NMAT. Thank you. I probably will start it at the rate I'm going. It's probably safe to just push it off to January 1 and let it settle down before I do that. So that will be one of the first things, and then we can come up with some other projects. Fortunately, I'm a programmer, so I can program anything. So it's just a matter of having time. I'm so busy with this channel making videos that I really have to focus on the videos, and I don't really have much time for anything else. So it's my priority to give you good service by providing you with good videos, and that's how to make this channel grow. So that's the only thing I'm focused on, is coming up with good material for the videos. And if there's a topic you want me to discuss, go leave it in the comments, and then after the live stream, so the comments are permanent, and then I can use it to think about what I should be doing, because it's really from the live streams and when I get the feedback from what you guys want. You're the audience, you know what you want me to do. This is kind of new to me. I'm a tech guy. I'm a techie programmer for a long time. Like the guys, calling me old man. Yeah, I'm an old guy. I've been doing this for a long time, probably longer than many of you have ever lived. So yes, I've been doing programming, and I was programming since I was very young. So So I've been programming for a long, 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 long time. Matt needs a new phone. I get tons of phones. So I'm expecting that most models are going to be stocked. Uh, this weekend we already have stock, and then they all arrived, and then I'm getting more stock early next week. So we should have pretty much all the models stocked here. So we're just going to make sure that it remains stocked at least through the Thanksgiving weekend. We are not shipping though on Black Friday. We're not that kind of company. So we're not kind of retail. So we're on vacation on Black Friday, because even though we're retail, we're on vacation on Black Friday. Which direction? Do you check Pegasus spying system? Yeah. Started programming in 1972. I'm not gonna tell you when I started. Not gonna tell you when I started. 77 for you. So yeah, for those of you who may not know it, I did. Let's see. I learned COBOL in college. Never used that. My first job was doing Fortran on a mainframe. Let's see. My first programming project was a Monte Carlo simulation model on a mainframe, and it took up so much resources. Actually, took up the entire mainframe for an hour, and that was back then. That's expensive. Every time it ran, and we have to run it many times. Per run, it took an hour to run for the entire mainframe. Guess it's a simulation run. And then after that, I built vertical market software. I did graphic software. Then I did accounting software. And then I became focused on medical software. I did medical software for a very long time. I'm one of the inventors of electronic medical records. I was one of the first inventors of electronic medical records. So for most of my career, I was a chief software architect. That I took the title. Bill Gates had that title, so I used the same title, chief software architect. So I was a software architect, chief software architect in my own company, kind of like a Bill Gates, I guess, for a long time. So and then stopped doing that, and then I got into specifically focusing on cybersecurity and privacy. I got out of that. Well, I sold my share in that business, and so I'm no longer associated with medical at all. So anyway, that's just in case you're wondering if I actually know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I have no idea if I know what I'm talking about. If you don't believe me, then you don't have to believe me. It's So, Packard Bell PCs. I'm sure I had many Packard Bells. I'm sure I had many of those. Don't aspire to be anything like Bill Gates. I've encountered Bill Gates many times. I never actually talked to him, but I encountered him in a hallway or walkway many times. I've never said a word to him, but he demonstrated my product in a what do you call that? The keynote event. He was a keynote speaker. He demonstrated my product because I was promoting a Windows thing. And Ariel from Argentina. Hello. Bill trying to kill. Do you think is there any BSD system which can be an everyday use system for a typical Windows user? I don't know, man. I mean, BSD. I was using Unix back in the day. Do I really need to go back to Unix? I mean, I was using Unix a long time ago. Let's see. think I was using Unix till probably till 1990. And then, of course, there's no Unix now. And then they came around and call it BSD. Okay, so, yeah. You mean Unix? Yeah, I never did Xorg. I never did, X server. So it was always just straight terminal and straight command line and straight text based. So that's my only experience with BSD. Okay, guys. So I am out of time, as Spirit Gamer. I'm sorry, Great Gold just told us here. So have a happy Thanksgiving. I will post a video before Thanksgiving, and no, actually on Thanksgiving Day. That nobody will watch that. I may have to postpone that. Either I have to post it the day before, or yeah, I'll have to think about that. I don't think I can post on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. And good night. Bye-bye.